Okay, Siobhan, if you just maybe walk us through as many pieces as you'd like. And
I've been painting silk for 40 years. This new exhibit, these are the smallest pieces I've ever done. And they've been wonderful. It's been very freeing for me to not worry about making things be wearable because I normally do scarves. So I am having a wonderful time. These redwood pieces were inspired by this last January when the redwoods seemed like they were indeed moving all around us. And also I've been thinking a lot about the Milky Way and the sky that comes off of the ocean here on the North Coast. So those have been the inspiration for these pieces. And then I've been working also on these little teeny vignettes. And again, I've always worked large, so these are just a pleasure. They're fun, they're perky, they're only $35. This is a triptych with the 3 pieces. This is Manchester Beach with the whole look, side to side. That's 𝗤𝗓𝗏. This is again a redwood inspired by what was going on during our storms in January.
Are they silk screen or are they painted directly?
Each piece is hand painted individually. So this I stretch like a canvas.
Ah, yeah,
and
okay,
I
that's
freehand
nice.
in the design, and then I go back in and I paint the silk using special silk dyes. Those are then steam set, and during that process, the fiber actually opens up with the moisture and the heat, and the dye gets right down in the middle of it to make sure that that dye is not only permanent, but that it's not interfering with the silk's natural ability to reflect light. Because what makes silk reflect light is that as a fiber, it's triangular. That little worm excretes this instead of most fibers are round. So when you weave with that, you get flat areas playing light off of flat areas, and that's what gives silk its inherent shine.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So if you use, and when I started this 40 years ago, this was the gold standard for how to get silk into, or get dye into silk. Now there's a bunch of newer age things where you can get color on silk and you adhere it to the top, and you lose all those peaks and valleys when you do that. So I have stuck with the very traditional method of painting on silk, where I go through this long, arduous, and often disastrous process, much like a potter gets from opening up a kiln at times and going, oh, that was 2 weeks of work gone. Because anytime you have water around silk, there can be issues. So with that, I get these colors all the way into the middle of the fiber, and then they're all washed and ironed afterwards to make sure all the residual dyes are out. And that's what gives me this clarity of color, the depth, it's like working on a really toothy watercolor paper if you're a watercolor artist.
Yeah, when the light plays on it, it's really like a ripple. Like,
It
you
is,
know, yeah.
and I like to, I've had many people over the last 40 years put my work under glass, but I like to have it out. It does, to me it goes back to tapestries on walls of castles. We've been adorning our walls with fibers for years, for warmth and for beauty. So I love the fact that these can be hung with 2 push pins. I set this show up showing that they're very easy to just put up and live with. It doesn't have to be framed, it doesn't have to be matted. It can be out, it can be interactive.
Yeah, great.
And then of course here at the Coast Highway Art Collective, I have my line that I'm well known for of my larger pieces and various other scarves and wearables, from intricate florals to silk wools as wraps. And these are always here. This show is just up for this month, but these little lovelies are here all year long. So stop by, take a look. This is a coastal scene.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Oh,
I try to really use my environment for inspiration. As you can see over in here, there's the poppies with the coast and the fog and what we end up living with here. I really try to let that just come through in my artwork.
Nice. Thanks a lot, Siobhan.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Bye.
I've been painting and refurbishing leather for about 8 years now. I have worked on so many different styles of purses and different styles of leather in the past. I feel like every single piece is a learning curve because there's not a single piece that seems like it's adhered to paint the same. But it's been a real labor of love. Everything takes a long time because first I have to get every single item looking brand new. So I refurbish it completely, and that entails deep cleaning it, sometimes stripping it, tinting it to its original luster, and then I seal everything with a top coat sealant that makes it as permanent as possible. And then a design comes into play when there is typically a stain that can't be removed with a cleaning technique. And so I will ingeniously use artwork to cover up a boo-boo and give something a new walk of life.
Pick out one, say like that purse there.
Well, this purse right here is a beautiful hobo. It's a laptop briefcase computer bag. It features the magnolia. I tend to work with a lot of color, but I think I'm more partial to the more subtle grayscale look of things. This actually did not need, and not anytime there's a design means that there's a stain underneath it that's being covered. Sometimes it's just there to beautify it, give it a personalized touch. But this particular bag was completely deep conditioned inside and out, and then sealed and tinted fully, and then I added this artwork.
And that's brushwork right on there, huh?
Say again?
The painting is oil brush?
It's using a brush, it's using an actual brush, but it's a water-based paint, and then the finisher that goes on top is acrylic, so it is waterproof. So it's actually the water-based paint. The leather paint actually puddles into the pores, if you will, because leather is skin, and it dries, so it's not just a top coat like you would imagine a screen print. So it's actually so much more everlasting than you would imagine, which I really appreciate, and it makes something that was already destined for a landfill have that much longer of a lifespan, which I love.
So it kind of gets integral, right, with the leather.
It really settles into the leather, and then the top coat just makes it so that any kind of rain or you spill a soda on it, you can just wipe it off really quick, and it won't actually soak into the leather because I treated it that way. I'd love to work into more apparel. I think that purses have been the best hot ticket item because they're one size fits all, so it's easier to sell that way. But I really like the idea of working into more of a fashion direction, which I think would be really cool.
Great. And let's see, you had some more.
Here are some more. And then this one I'll pick up and see if you can get slightly closer. This is when I have a leather piece that has a scratch on it that can't just be tinted and have that scratch go away. I developed a technique that actually applies a medium to my leather paints that gives it more of a body, and I don't know if you can hear that or not.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And it to me makes it look like they're beads. So my method is to paint what looks like beads, but they're not beads, they're made of paint. And they cover up the scratch, and so it just takes your eye away from any blemish that there is on your jacket or your purse. This is a new bag, the Calla Lily. I really like when things are just subtle. They don't have to be loud.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Subtle is right.
Yeah. Yeah.